AT Tech Course 202 Student Outline. Section 1, Introduction. This course introduces students to the foundational principles of appraising real property and provides the tools for estimating market value using the cost approach to value. The course follows a basic schedule.
Next page.
Section 2, Property and Market Value. Learning Objectives. Number 1, list and explain the concepts of real property. Explain the differences between real and personal property. Explain how limitations on property rights may affect market value. Number 4, define value in exchange, value in use, and market value. Number 5, know the 13 appraisal principles that explain how value is determined. The purpose of this course is to help students gain an understanding of the principles and practices of real estate appraisal and ultimately learn how to apply these principles and practices to estimate property values of real estate for property taxation. A key role of an appraisal district is to estimate the market value of real property in their jurisdiction. This section examines two basic ideas that are the beginning point for an appraiser. Number 1, what is real property? And number 2, what is market value? A, the concept of property and property rights. Text from Chapter 2, page 9 and 10. Number 1, real property is defined by Property Tax Code Section 1.042 is known as A, land, B, improvement, C, mine or quarry, D, mineral in place, E, standing timber, F, an estate or interest other than a mortgage or deed of trust creating a lien on property or an interest securing payment or performance of an obligation in a property enumerated in the above items listed A through E. Number 2, real property can be viewed as the interests, benefits, and rights inherent in the ownership of land plus anything permanently attached to the land or legally defined as immovable. Number 3, other commonly used terms which have the same meaning as real property, real estate, and realty. Number 4, real property may include any or all of the following: land, anything permanently attached to the land known as improvements, anything permanently attached to the improvements, fixtures, mineral rights and water rights below the surface of the land, and air rights above the surface of the land. Real property can be, number 5, real property can be viewed as a bundle of rights with which the ownership of real estate endows. These rights include the right to use the property, the right to sell the property, the right to lease the property, the right to enter or leave the property, the right to give away the property. Side note, a number of distinct and separable rights. Oh, these are a number of distinct and separable rights.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then there's F.
There is also F. That was poorly done.
You want to start over with the list?
I'm going to start over with the list.
I would read this whole sentence and add that on to the end.
Okay. Real property can be viewed as a bundle of rights with which the ownership of real estate endows. These rights are a number of distinct and separable rights and include the right to use the property, the right to sell the property, the right to lease the property, the right to enter or leave the property, the right to give away the property, the right to refuse to do any of the above things with the property. There is an acronym to remember these rights. Slugger. Sell, the right to sell. Lease, the right to lease or rent. Use, the right to use. Give away, the right to give away. Enter, the right to enter or leave real property. And refuse, the right to refuse to do any of these. SLUGER.
Cute, huh?
I guess.
If she gets mouthy, slugger.
The sixth concept of property and property rights are specific examples of real property. A vacant, unimproved parcel of land without mineral rights. A lot with a house built on it. A farm with a house and several other buildings. Manufactured home that has been permanently affixed to the land and the owner owns the land. Mines or quarries. Agricultural land and the standing timber on the property. B. The nature of personal property. It refers to text chapter 16, page 462. Personal property is defined by Property Tax Code section 1.044 to be property that is not real property. Personal property must be subdivided into two categories: tangible and intangible. Tangible property is defined by Property Tax Code section 1.045 to be personal property that can be seen, weighed, measured, felt, or otherwise perceived by the senses, but does not include a document or other perceptible object that constitutes evidence of a valuable interest claim, or right and has negligible or no intrinsic value. Examples include machinery, furniture, equipment, inventory, and fixtures. Intangible property is defined by Property Tax Code section 1.046 to be a claim, interest, other than an interest in tangible property, right, or other thing that has value but cannot be seen, felt, weighed, measured, or otherwise perceived by the senses, although its existence may be evidenced by a document. Examples include patent rights, copyrights, stocks, bonds, notes, mortgages, and deeds of trust. C. Limitations on property rights can affect market value. It refers to text chapter 2, page 10. Number 1. Public land restrictions. Public land use restrictions, or PEAT. Police power consists of zoning ordinances, building codes, subdivision development regulations, health department ordinance. E for eminent domain. Property taxation, that's the T in PEAT. And E, the escheat.
Escheat?
Escheat.
Does it give a definition for that?
It does not.
I can't remember what it is.
Well, maybe we'll get to it.
Come across it.
Is it in that book?
No, that's a textbook thing.
Isn't that a textbook?
No, I mean, I'm sorry. Classroom textbook thing.
Okay. Number 2, this is the second limitation on property rights that can affect market value. Private land use restrictions or encumbrances, the rights of co-owners on the property. Condominium and subdivision restrictions. Covenants, conditions, and restrictions found in the chain of the title of the property. Mortgages, liens and adjustments, and leases. D, the value in use or value in exchange refers to text chapter 2, page 13. Number 1, value in exchange. Value is in the mind of man. It is synonymous with Property Tax Code definition of market value. considers all potential uses for the land and improvements, and establishes value based upon the HBU of the property.
Highest and best use.
Highest and best use of property. The second value or use in value in exchange is the value in use. The value is the object itself. It's similar to market value except with one significant restriction. The value is estimated based upon a specific land use for the property. The specified land use may or may not be the highest best use or HBU. If the stated use is the HBU, then value in use is equal to value in exchange. E. Cost, price, and value. Number 1. Cost is the sacrifice made in terms of money, time, and labor to acquire property. Number 2. Price is the amount of money given or expected in the exchange for property. Number 3. Value and price are not synonymous. Value is the monetary worth of real estate or personal property to buyers and sellers. F. Market value defined. Market value is defined by Property Tax Code Section 1.047 as the price for cash at which a property would transfer. The market value is defined as for cash or its equivalent. The market value is defined as under prevailing market conditions. Market value is defined as assuming the property is exposed on the market.
Well, that one is really not each of those. Those are all parts of the definition of market value.
So I'm reading this wrong. So this doesn't.
Yeah.
I shall start over.
Okay.
Section F. Hey, you know it enough to know that I was screwing you up.
Yeah, that's good.
Market value is defined by Property Tax Code Section 1.047 as the price at which a property, the price for cash at which a property would transfer. B for cash or its equivalent. C, under prevailing market conditions. D, assuming the property is exposed on the market for a reasonable time for the seller to find a purchaser. E, assuming both seller and purchaser know of all the uses and purposes to which the property is adapted and for which it is capable of being used and of the enforceable restrictions on its use. F, assuming both the seller and purchaser seek to maximize their gains. G, assuming neither seller nor purchaser is in a position to take advantage of the exigencies of the other. Exigencies are urgent need or demand.
Exigencies.
Tomato.
I don't know how to pronounce it. Okay.
Students should mind their own business.
Students should mind their own business, but not complete the student activity and workbook for Section 2.
I didn't read that. You did. Section 3, Highest and Best Use Analysis. Learning objective. 1. Explain the fundamentals of highest and best use, HBU. Number 2. Define HBU. Number 3. List the 4 tests for HBU. Number 4. Explain the HBU connection to market analysis. Number 5. Explain HBU of land as though vacant. Number 6. Explain HBU of property as improved. A. Fundamentals of highest and best use. Covers text chapter 3, pages 27 through 61. Number 1. The way in which a property is used plays an essential role in its value. In all valuation assignments, the opinions of value must be based on use. In 1894, the United States Supreme Court stated, "The value of property results from the use to which it is put and varies with its profitableness of that use, present and prospective, actual, and anticipated. There is no pecuniary value outside of that. Pecuniary. There is no pecuniary value outside of that which results from such use. Do you need to know the case for which that definition?
Yeah, I want to say it. Mm-hmm.
It comes from Cleveland, CC, and St. Louis, RY County versus Backus, BACKUS, 1894.
Can you imagine they were valuing property all that long ago?
Pecuniary. It is of relating to money.
Oh.
Pecuniary. Okay, number 2. HBU is the use that generates the highest net return to the property over a reasonable period of time. What? Why did you
read that side note?
I will.
That she wrote. Okay.
I will.
I didn't know if you were gonna.
Yeah. I hadn't even gotten to it yet. Number 3. The appraiser must understand the physical, environmental, economic, governmental, and social forces, or PEGs, relative to the determinants of supply and demand, meaning HBU must be this PEGs, right?
No, not pegs. Yeah, pegs. I'm sorry.
Physical,
Tell you what.
economic, governmental, and social forces.
Okay, read that number 4. Go ahead.
Number 4, HBU is the culmination of regional, neighborhood, and site analysis.
Okay. So, let's reread this section, but only read. Oh, up to there, up to use. And then read them through, because we had an interruption. And it threw off the flow.
Okay. Do you want me to do that for each letter as we go through here?
I don't know what you mean.
Well, we're fixing to have C.
Okay, hang on just a minute. Okay.
Section A, repeated, for stinker. The fundamentals of highest and best use. Number 1. The way in which property is used plays an essential role in its value. In all valuation assignments, the opinions of value must be based on use. Number 2. HBU is the use that generates the highest net return to the property over a reasonable period of time. Number 3. The appraiser must understand the physical, economic, governmental, and social forces, or PEGs, relative to the determinants of supply and demand. Number 4. HBU is the culmination of the regional, neighborhood, and site analysis. B. HBU defined. HBU is defined in the IAAO text page 32.
Yeah, IAAO book, that's what that is. That green book is that IAAO book.
HBU is defined in the IAAO text page 32 as the reasonably probable and legal use of vacant land or an improved property which is physically possible, appropriately supported, financially feasible, and that results in the highest value.
Read it again. Oh, it is the highest value. Never mind. Sorry. Okay. Go.
Well, I have a question.
Oh, okay.
It goes from page 12 to page 14. Number 2. The HBU conclusion must be supported by the following 4 tests. A. Physical possibility. B. Legal permissibility. C. Financial feasibility. And D. Maximum productivity. Number 3. 2 forms of HBU analysis. A. HBU as though vacant. 1. Disregards any current improvements of the land. Number 2. Which land would use maximum land value? B. HBU as currently improved. 1. Is the current land use most profitable to the owner? 2. Should current improvements be kept or raised? Number 4. The theory of consistent use refers to text chapter 3, page 38. A. When the current improved use is consistent with the HBU as vacant. B. Required for a cost approach appraisal. Number 5. Properties in transition. The concept of interim use refers to text chapter 3, page 53. A. A new HBU must be identified. B. The time when this change will occur must be estimated. C. Value is determined by the sum of number 1. The present worth of income from the interim use, less the cost of erecting the interim improvement.
She said erecting.
Stop it. Number 2. The present worth of the salvage value of the interim improvements, less the present worth of removing them. 3. The present worth of the income from the future new HBU, less the present worth of erecting the future improvements. Number 6. Valuing an improved property not currently at HBU. Alternative to the cost approach is required. Cost approach will only be valid when there is consistent use. This refers to text chapter 3, pages 50 and 51. A common example is the land being at one use while the current improvement is at a different use. Value is determined by developing 3 different values. A. Estimate value on the land and current improvements assuming continuation in existent use. B. Subtract the cost of clearing the site from the HBU value of the site and add the salvage value of the improvements, if any. C. Subtract the cost of conversion to alternate use from the value after conversion. Note: market value is the highest of the 3 value estimates generated above. C. Basic appraisal principles. This refers to text chapter 2, pages 15 through 21. Number 1. Principle of anticipation. A. Value is the present worth of expected future benefits. B. Related to the principle of change. Number 2. Principle of balance. For specific properties, value is maximized when the size and type of improvements are proportional to each other as well as the land. B. For neighborhoods, value is maximized when uses of land are perfectly complementary. Number 3. Principle of change. Value is never constant because physical, economic, social, and governmental forces are always changing. B. Related to the principle of anticipation. Number 4. Principle of competition. A. Competition is created by the potential for profits. B. If profits are high, new competitors enter the field and supply increases. C. If profits are low or negative, firms leave the industry and supply decreases. Number 5. Principle of conformity. The value of a property depends upon its relationship to its surroundings. B. Value is maximized when there is a reasonable similarity among the improvements in a neighborhood. Number 6. Principle of consistent use. A property must be valued with a single use for the entire property. B. Cannot value land according to one use and value the improvements based upon another use. Number 7. Principle of contribution. A. The value of a component of property depends upon its contribution to the value of the whole property. B. The cost of an improvement does not necessarily equal the value the component adds to the property. Number 8. Principle of increasing and decreasing returns. A. The agents in production are land, labor, capital, and management coordination. B. When you add successive increments of one of the agents of production to a property, net benefits will increase up to a certain point. C. After you reach that point, additional increments will result in diminished value. Number 9, principle of progression. The value of a lower priced property is increased by association with better properties of the same type. B. Related to the principle of conformity. Number 10, principle of regression. The value of a better quality property is decreased by association with lower quality properties in the same area. B. Related to the principle of conformity. Number 11, principle of substitution. A. Market value tends to be established by the cost of acquiring an equally desirable substitute property and no costly delay. B. Underlies each of the three approaches to a value. Number 12, principle of supply and demand. This refers to text chapter 2, pages 20 through 25. A. Four determinants of supply. Number 1, cost of production, cost of raw materials, labor, technology, financing costs, and interest rates. Number 2, price of other goods. Number 3, entrepreneurs' expectations. Number 4, number of sellers in the market. B. 5 factors that influence demand. Number 1, consumer tastes and preferences. Number 2, consumer income. Number 3, price of related commodities. Number 4, consumer expectations. Number 5, the price of the commodity. C. Changes in supply. Number 1, shift in supply occurs when the basic relationship of price and quantity changes. Number 2, change in the quantity supplied results when the price of the good changes. D. Changes in demand. Number 1, shift in demand occurs when the basic relationship of price and quantity change. Number 2, change in the quantity demanded results only when the price of the good changes. Number 13, principle of surplus productivity. A. Income earned by the land. B. The net income remaining after costs of labor, management, and capital have been paid. C. Related to principles of balance, contribution, and increasing, decreasing returns. Section 4.